ministry seems to be facing a string of problems. National Police Commissioner Clement Manyathela says there's no need for him and two of his deputies to resign over the procurement of spy equipment. Manyathela was quizzed by DA MP Andrew Whitfield during a portfolio committee briefing in Parliament. He says he has been cleared by the Inspector General of Intelligence of wrongdoing in the purchase of that spy equipment. Let's speak to the DA's Andrew Whitfield now. Andrew, thank you so much for making time on the lead this afternoon. The picture that was painted by the police commissioner was of the SAPS in distress. You're talking budget cuts, declining personnel numbers, helicopters that don't work. That's no doubt affecting the police's mandate to prevent, combat and investigate crime.
Absolutely. South African Police Service is in a complete state of crisis. We see ongoing efforts of political interference. I think over the years we've had at least 4 or 5 national police commissioners who are blatantly political appointees. And now we have a national police commissioner who's embroiled in a scandal around the infamous spy grabber technology in the run-up to the NASREC conference in 2017. Now, you'll recall that Clement Manyathela, who's now the National Police Commissioner, was appointed about a month before that NASREC conference, and in the days before that conference, IPID intercepted and prevented the procurement of the spy grabber technology. And that is the issue that we challenged the National Police Commissioner on Friday, whether he will now, in the face of his failure to succeed with his appeal against the North Gauteng High Court, whether he will resign or face disciplinary steps.
Yeah, and I want us to also speak about the plan, right, for the police to fix what seems to have been broken, because we need an effective police service. But let's talk about the calls for the commissioner and the 2 of his deputies to resign over this controversial procurement of spy equipment. We know that the Supreme Court of Appeal dismissed with costs the appeal of the commissioner against the High Court judgment that found that he and the 2 deputies had breached their statutory duties. Who gets to account for that then? Because he wants to argue that the Inspector General actually cleared him of any wrongdoing.
Well, nobody seems to have received this import from the Inspector General of Intelligence. The issue at heart here is not whether the National Police Commissioner actually procured that spy grabber equipment in 2017. That was thwarted by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. The issue here is why the National Police Commissioner would not declassify the documents which he says he is vindicated by the Inspector General. Nobody's seen that report. Ultimately, somebody must take responsibility. We cannot continue to have a SAPS leadership and management in crisis. And now it has resulted in a breakdown in trust and the relationship between the minister and the National Police Commissioner. So SAPS is a house divided, which cannot fulfill its constitutional mandate, which was something that the National Police Commissioner made very clear on Thursday at the Portfolio Committee meeting on police.
Yeah, and you wonder why there have been some failures on the part of the SAPS, especially in the beginning of what we saw in the country 2 weeks ago. How is that relationship, by the way, between the Commissioner and the Police Minister? What did they tell the committee?
Well, they said to the committee that they're not friends, they don't drink tea or coffee together, but they work together. Well, it's simply not the case. Nobody really believes that they work well together. That is what the minister said. He said they work well together. We can see as the public that there is a clear tension between the two. Every time the National Police Commissioner wants to make appointments, the minister seems to be unhappy and wants to challenge those appointments. When the National Police Commissioner appoints somebody into crime intelligence, the minister says on eNCA that he doesn't know anything about it. And in the Portfolio Committee meeting yesterday, the minister said that he knows nothing about the issue of the spy grabber technology, which is a horrific admission from a minister who should know everything that's going on in his department. It means that the lines of communication are not open, they are not working well together, and somebody's got to go, or both of them have to go. The time has now come for the president, who appointed both of these individuals, in fact it was the former president who appointed the National Police Commissioner, but as the President who has the power to remove these two individuals and restore credibility to the South African Police Service, which, to answer your original question, Clement, needs a fundamental overhaul in order to ensure that policing is decentralized and depoliticized.
So what plan do they have, Andrew? I mean, they've indicated that they're dealing with budget cuts. They've indicated that in some instances, they are unable to fly, the police choppers. There's declining personnel numbers, helicopters that don't work. What plan did they give the committee? Because right now, especially after what we experienced in the country 2 weeks ago, we need an effective police service. And one wonders if they're able to come up with a plan so that they're on the ground and do what they're constitutionally mandated to do.
Well, they presented two presentations. The one was about the instability in SAPS and the other was about restructuring. And the restructuring was the plan that they have to turn things around, which is to make SAPS a more lean and efficient organization, to reduce the senior management and put more boots on the ground, so direct or divert the costs associated with the more than 200 generals that are employed, reduce that number hopefully by half, or hopefully more, but certainly by half, and redirect that funding to boots on the ground, invisible policing. But the reality is that over the medium term, the SAPS budget is going to be cut by 11 billion rand. The South African economy is under strain. We don't see how they are going to augment that budget, which is absolutely required. The DA argued for more funding. SAPS is getting less. We argued for more boots on the ground. We're getting less. The trainees, there's supposed to be 7,000 trainees over the last year, this year, next year that are brought into SAPS's ranks, but that is not happening. And so the plan that has been tabled, I'm afraid, is paper thin. It really doesn't have any content to it that speaks to the fundamental issues around depoliticizing and decentralizing SAPS down to a provincial and potentially even a metropolitan level in order to bring accountability closer to the people on the ground. At the moment, we have two senior generals sitting in Pretoria, in the Minister and the National Police Commissioner, fighting with each other while people on the ground are suffering. The system is broken. It cannot work. It needs a fundamental overhaul. And the plan that they have, I'm afraid, is inadequate.
And my goodness, we don't need a broken system at this time. Thank you for making time. Andrew Whitfield is with the DA. Now, the ANC